So you guys were I'm hearing a lot of you guys wanted a theme song shortened, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. Crazy Cat Lady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair educational for and entertainment purpose. Blade, it's like it's all they did. Well, those years ago. See? No, I don't want to do any more of it.
Alright, hi everyone, Martha here. So, I've been listening to Sun and Stars, or Sun and the Sun and the Star. So, this one is probably this is the latest book that Rick Ranger wrote with Mark O. Harrisol. I'm not done reading all of his main books. There's a couple more main books I need to read. So hopefully those main books don't they weren't spoiled in here, so as far as I know. And then a couple books that I need to read that are like spin-offs and some fill guides of Rick Ranger's books. So what happens in here, you remembered the last book of Apollo's Trial series, Nico and Will got a prophecy from Rachel, and we don't know what the prophecy was, and we don't really find out who sent it to the end of this book. But before I get to this book, like basically what happens in this book, before I tell you a lot of the monsters that show up in here, is that Nico and Will have to go and save Bob, a Titan, from Nyx, which is a very powerful god who is even more powerful than Zeus. In one story, Hypnos made Zeus go to sleep. So Hera can take over the like have a little revenge for all the times that Zeus cheated on her, and take over take over Olympus for a little while, and she had Hypno knock him out. Now when Zeus woke up and found out what Hypno did to him, he wanted to punish him, but he ran away to his mommy, Nyx, and Nyx told him, "You're not gonna see my son, Zeus. Leave my son alone." He ran off because nobody wants to deal with Nyx. Nyx loves darkness a lot, since she is the goddess of night and is also the goddess of dark. Since Nico has had a lot of bad things happen to him, his sister die, his mom die, having to resurrect his half-sister, being rejected by the first boy that he liked, when he came out of the closet, it was kind of against his will. So all that stuff, and the fact that he was trapped inside of a hotel most of his life, and when he comes out, he's still little, and he does not remember, and he's still adjusting to his life. So a lot has happened to this kid. He gets he's usually like when he all the other Greek kids in the hero Olympus time, he gets captured by the goddess of the mother of monsters, Echidna, and sent down to Tartarus, which is basically the hell version to Greek mythology. And he's there to get kidnapped by two giants that are Rhea's kids. But first, Nyx bumps into him and loves that this is her new toy to play with, basically. And the two giants take her, but she wants to have him. So, and later on, after all that happened, Percy and Annabeth get sent down there by accident, by falling a couple, and Nyx has Bob, who comes and saves both Percy and Annabeth in that book, and so she uses Bob as bait to get Nico back down there. Now, they're going into a realm that is ruled by Hades. This entire book owes, and they come in saying, we cannot let Hades know that we're down here. Nico thinks that, okay, I can do this. I can fool my dad. I can go in his realm and not think that he doesn't know I'm there. And it's hard to hunt her book. A hard time I was listening to this book. I was like, why doesn't Hades not know that he's down there? This is a big plot hole. I mean, the book's really good, but my mind just kept on saying, you're in Hades' realm. He should know when somebody is in his realm, okay? Just because you're his son and you know how to work, you found a way to trick him does not mean he would not know that you're in there. We find out later on the book, he's the one that sent the prophecy because he could hear Bob crying for Nico. And so he sent the prophecy to Rachel. And poor Rachel kept on having it happen like 13 times. So, but this time she finally went to tell them and then told them, I've had this happen to me 13 times. Poor Rachel. And Dionysus is really good to Nico. You would think to Dionysus is and how he treats all the other demigods in that camp, he would be just as mean to Nico, but apparently he's not. He likes Nico, and he listens to him because he's been having all these dreams that Hypno and Nyx are sending to him. He tells Dionysus most of the dreams, and he's trying to be as understanding as possible. So when he finally has like a really bad dream about Cupid, Jason, and his sister that Nyx sent up there with Hypno's help, he wakes up and tells everything about Dionysus eating popcorn. So I did like that. Before I thought it was funny. And they eventually, so Will and Nico go down there. And you're supposed to have a third person go down there, but they say Bob will be a third person, but we also have little Bob who's going to be helping them guide where Bob is once they find him and once they get to Tartarus. So how they get down to the underworld, while they're thinking that their Hades won't see them, they go through Orpheus's gate. Now, if you don't know who Orpheus is, and you haven't watched me do my playthrough of Stray Gods, Orpheus' side, I'll explain. Orpheus is a god, a son of Apollo, that fell in love with a tree nymph, and the tree nymph gets Eurydice gets bit by a snake after she was running away from very bad men, and she ends up getting bit by a snake, and she dies. He goes down so Orpheus goes down the underworld to go into see Eurydice, and Hades tells him, you cannot look back if you want to have Eurydice follow you. He obviously looks back, and she disappears. And so I guess there is now a permanent gate that he used that you can just enter. Okay. And one of Nyx's kids, I guess, a demon has to the demon's last god of nightmares is down there, and he tries to make both Will and Nico have like their worst nightmares, but eventually Nico beats him with using the raise the dead, and then Nico decides to go down to where the troglodytes are and have them lead to where to go to Tartarus. And we also meet the bullman who works at Hades' farm, and he wants Will and Nico to go and get a fruit from Persephone's garden so he can give it to his lover. And she gets Will under her spell for a while, makes them stay, and asks. And I think after reading the last bit of this book, I think that Persephone knows that Hades is the one that had them down there in the first place. Because how they react. She asks them, "Did Hades send you down? This is Hades' quest?" And Nico says no. So I'm kind of feeling that Hades told her that let them go. And so, but she had to play along with that that she did not know. So they take it back to the bull guy, and this is not the same Minotaur that it was in the maze. This is a different Minotaur. I guess there is two different Minotaurs, but this is not that Minotaur. We make that perfectly clear if you're confused. And he takes the fruit so he can't go back up there because he wants to be down here doing his job. And one of the troglodytes stays with him after they lead Nico to Mill to Tartarus. I have a hard time remembering that word. And they go on the River of Pain. It's one of the many pains, the many rivers in the underworld that you can come across if you're down there. And at the mythology, and one of them is the River of Pain. So if you stand in the river, you feel all the pain and all the things you have done to somebody and for your life, and all the mistakes you've done. While you're standing in it, it's all you feel. And they're using a boat that tree nymph that went down there with them. And one entire time they were down there, poor Will, since he's the son of Apollo, he's having a hard time being down there because he's away from the sun, and being underground, it's not exactly the best thing for the son of Apollo to deal with. He's tasked to be around the sun because he's the literal son of the sun. So when they get to across the river, we meet some very bad dogs, and they had to fight them. And Little Bob, who turns into a saber-tooth tiger thing in order to beat the dogs. But they also meet Dionysus' satyr, who's being down there punished probably by Zeus, because if you know Dionysus' story about him, all the way he died when he was first alive as Zagreus, and then his mom ends up dying because she wanted Zeus to see Zeus' actual form, and then Zeus saved Dionysus by carrying him. So in a way, he kind of failed Dionysus there for his life. So he's being punished probably by Zeus by being in Tartarus and making him where he has to relive the fact that he failed Dionysus, and he's looking for Dionysus for basically all eternity. So he gets sent to get torn apart by those dogs that they heard earlier. And Nico acts as later for him to not to be in Tartarus anymore from his dad. So at least he gets out of there. He probably gets put into the Greek version of heaven now, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. And while they're down there, a lot of times Nico does dream about his Yanka, but it always ends up being Nick's having fun with him with hypnosis help. So when they meet, they get back on the boat and they go to where they know where Nyx's house is. We find out Nyx's house can move throughout Tartarus all the time she wants. And they almost go over the cliff where Chaos lives. So, your Greek mythology, Chaos is one of Nyx's parents, or sometimes it's both of her parents, because Chaos can be either both a boy or girl. Depends on which story you hear. So yeah. So Nyx is trying to send Will down there because I don't think she really wants Will there. She just wants Nico there. When we find Bob, he's being torn apart because he won't pick between his Titan part of him and him being Bob, which was him when he forgot who he was because of Percy, and decided to become a janitor for Hades for a little while. Him got sent down to the Tartarus, which made him remember who he was, so he still wanted to be Bob, and when Nyx got a hold of him, she wanted him, it made him where he had a hard time picking which one. And so that's what he was dealing with the whole time he was down there. And Nico used his sword in order to free him. And this is when Nyx came, and we find out that, geez, Nyx, you are terrible. Because once Nico stepped foot in Tartarus, in the underworld, she made demons based off his most terrible memories, and I think one of them, or one good memory, because one obviously loves Will, so I'm guessing that's probably the one that he's based off with Will. And I do like how Nico comes up with he comes with a new name for these guys, because their names are Techno Demons or something, some demons, and he calls them his Cocoa Puffs. So it's kind of, I did like that part's pretty funny. It takes Nemesis and Hypnos both setting their mom's house on fire in order to make where she'll distract her, and keeping them back, because you find that Nemesis is actually not just the goddess of betrayal. She's also one of the goddesses of balance, and so she finds her thing that them tricking Nico down there is against balance. So she's gonna help get Nico out of there. But she tells him not to come back down here. I don't think he's ever going to come back down to Tartarus ever again, because of his two experiences he's had has not been very good. After they get out of there, they get back on the boat. Nyx tries to get onto the boat, tries to get into the river, but she can't, because her whole entire reason to exist is to make everybody's life terrible, so she literally cannot enter into a river where they make you pay for all the things that you've done to everybody else, because that's what she does for a living and all her life. So she cannot get in there, and so she cannot get to Nico again. So yay, she's free. And the Cocoa Puffs get in there with them and go up to back to the camp with them, but Nico goes to sleep, and he dreams and sees his sister Bianca and her hunter's form, and this time it's actually her, and she sees his mom, and he sees Hades, and he finds out that Hades is the one that sent him down there, and that he knew that he was down there the whole entire time. And he hugged his dad, because all he's been through during this whole entire book was really hard, and he had to hug somebody. And he also hugs Chiron when he gets back up there. This kid just needs a hug. So yeah, and he finally talks to, when he gets up there, one of the things that he does, I thought he was going to call, before we cave, he goes and tells both Chiron and Dionysus what happened with everything with Will's help while they're eating pancakes. Bob ends up leaving right when he gets up there, and after he shakes hands with Chiron, he did allow him to stay, but he just wants to just go north. He doesn't know what's gonna happen, what's gonna come from later. And we have Nico goes and talks to Piper, and finally decides to ask her how she's doing since Jason died. And she's has her first girlfriend, and she's just not sure what she is now, since she's had a boyfriend, and now she's also She's gonna have a girl. She has a girlfriend here. She's not deciding what she's still trying to figure out what she is. So, as far as I think, since she has dated both, I would say she is bisexual, but she is not sure yet. I don't know, but we'll find out. Let me know what you think Piper is. So, they have a little talk, and they also have a little talk with Jason and stuff like that. And Nico tells her what he had to deal with, and he goes to sleep for a little while. And the book ends with him and Will cuddling. So let's read the last page together. Then I'll rate this. Maybe having the Cocoa Puffs is going to help. I don't know, the idea that your personality demons will now live outside your body and kind of cool. Oh, it's very cool, Nico. Is that Nico? He properly himself onto hand the face. Well, I already planned on not telling anyone else about them, so I could scare them the living daylights out of people on a regular basis. Wow, Nico, said Will. Why are you like this? Childhood drama, Nico said, nodding. Even Will could resist how funny that joke was. It pleases to see Nico be able to laugh and at that darkness, and took the sign that Will was really trying. Well, he would be. Nix had entirely taught Nico that he could no longer live, shrugging into his past, and he didn't have to let his pain defy him. There was no another opportunity not been able to see before. Will son Apollo came into his life and shores his brightness onto him. Nico was not afraid of light anymore. He and his boyfriend laid on the bed in silence, and his leg lowered into Will. His finger triggered on, and no one will love like Will did. They were no longer terrifying. He could be that accepted and expected, and decided to be anything but the best thing for Nico. His life has been ruled by nearby ruin the gods and demons by war and prophecies and the doubted of fear. But he watched Will drift into sleep, and nothing mattered anymore. There was a crick at the door, but Nico did not look. He heard the matter of footprints on the woods and felt each other on the Cocoa Puffs and hop on the bed, and they found them on a place of coke was up to Nico, Will, and one other. It's strange a year ago that this was not something that Nico could ever imagine. He had no idea what the future held or what crisis would rather the next threats and the safety and the well-being of the world. Where the demigods came to the terror. Then the first time in Nico's entire life, center filled the whole body, space into his bones, and buried its heart. Nico smiled. The future held hope. He crooked it crooked into it. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Look, I have 2 books here. One I'm gonna, and one I might read because I had to order it. But I have 2 here already. have in my hands, and that is Camp Half-Blood Commission, Your Real Guide to a Demigod Training Camp, and Sports Jupiter Camp Classified. So these are the books I have here, but I can also order the Dead Ship, which is the next book for Magnus Chase. So I'll see you guys later. I'm probably gonna give this book a 8 out of 10. So I'll see you guys later. Like, favorite, and subscribe. And go watch anything that I have had to do with Greek mythology, which I have reviewed both Hercules, Hades, the game, and I have a playthrough of Stray Gods, and I have a bunch of shorts like saying this is the same god of those. So go and watch that stuff. So I'll see you guys later. Like, favorite, subscribe, and bye bye.